Welcome to Good Life TV NG. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to get our updates. The current governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, also talked about the current economy that is going on in Anambra State. I'll let you guys watch the rest of the video and tell me what your thoughts are.
But let's begin the conversation on the issue of the budget of 2024. 410 billion naira budget. That's what you presented to the State House of Assembly, out of which you said 120 billion is going to be sourced from borrowings to fund.
It's really, ratcheting up very fast the collection of revenue from the informal sector. But we are very systematic and intentional about this in terms of putting the various pillars in place. We are hoping that in the coming weeks and months that the trajectory is, on the upward curve. So if we had like 1.3, 1.4 when we came, and you had even to disrupt a series of things. But if we even add back duties that we have collected, we're actually making well over maybe 3 billion on the average, so to speak. But we're talking about the current flows. So is the digitization, the migration from manual analog to digitization, and therefore we've allowed quite a lot of the buckets, the revenue buckets, to lie fallow until we're able to put in the tech and the personnel to be able to harness them. So we believe we can only get better with time.
Let me take you to a bit of the national economy now. I'll come to the palliatives, the minimum wage, because you are in the committee that was sitting on some of these policies and decisions at the National Economic Council. Well, I will take you slightly to an area where you do not like to talk about, and which is the central bank and its policies. Godwin Emefiele era has gone. We are in the Cardoso era. And there are those who will say, some of you in the National Economic Council, the think tank for the nation's economy, will perhaps have given the nation some kind of a leapfrog, especially leaning on the experience and the knowledge of Charles Soludo, who is a former CBN governor. Would you say we are on the right track? There are those who said, well, we have left the dark age in the Godwin Emefiele era. Perhaps Cardoso era will give us some light at the end of the tunnel. Do you think so?
Sharon, let me sound you a note of warning. No matter how you try, you're not going to drag me into the issues that you define. I think, and so to be clear, I'm not going to be commenting about the central bank. That's an institution that I was the privilege to lead for 5 years, and having left the place, I've moved on. If there is anything that I have to comment on it, it has to be bilateral. I communicate my views or any advice or assessments or whatever bilaterally to the whoever is the helm of affairs. And so Cardoso has just come in, and and I can say from what I have heard or heard from him so far, I think he has his mind in the right place. We now want to see all of those in the coming weeks and months, so to speak. As for the National Economic Council, yes, the National Economic Council is an advisory body created by the Constitution to advise the president. And it is made up of the chairman, who is the vice president, the governor of central bank, and the 36 state governors. And so what we discussed there, again, is advisory, because I was once the chief economic advisor to the president. And so I understand what it means to be an advisor. We don't advise in public. You don't advise your principal, on national television. You advise, it's a private thing, because when you advise and your principal accepts your advice, it's no longer your own. becomes that of your principal. So, and I want to believe that from what I have seen so far, this National Economic Council is up to it, made up of very experienced, very knowledgeable team in there, to grapple with the challenges of the time. But ours is to advise, and be rest assured that the National Economic Council is providing the advice as required.
So, Governor Soludo, what I'm asking you about the CBN, I'm asking you, trying to glean from your knowledge as someone who has headed that institution. But again, I'd like to bring to...
Governor Charles Soludo refused to make negative comment about Central Bank of Nigeria for the reason best known to him as the former governor of CBN.
Might be added to about 2,000 before the end of the year. There are those who have that fear. And there are those who believe that if this is the case, we are headed for, in fact, a bigger trouble in terms of what the economy portends for the economy, and the fact that the effect is going to be enormous. Do you have that kind of fear that, especially those who criticize that they are manually regulating the naira and not doing the right thing? What is your biggest fear about the manner in which the dollar is faring to the naira?
Shaun, again, no matter how hard you try, you're not going to drag me into this. This is a very heavy question. Comments we make or don't make in this regard can have consequences for the market either way, and it is not the kind of question that I could actually answer responsibly, given where I sit and where I sat before publicly.
But if I may ask you, and I know diplomatically how much you don't want to commit yourself into all of this, but the question is, there are a lot of people who are excited when they saw that I was going to be speaking with you. And one big thing tonight is whether or not we're on the right track as a people in the kind of policy that we are seeing. But can you be frank with us tonight? How tough a place are we right now?
Again, like I said, let me refer you to the fact that I was supposed to speak at the Nigerian Economic Summit Group. And because of the topic listed on there, I thought that wasn't appropriate for me to be there to speak on this subject publicly. And therefore, I declined to appear on that panel. And no matter how you try, if your listeners are wanting Soludo to comment one way or the other, they're not going to get it from me. But let me just tell you something, which is very important. Context. Context matters. I was governor of Central Bank, and I met the exchange rate at about 138 naira. I am the governor that presided over having seen the rate move down from 138 to 120 to 118, and actually came down to 112 naira to the dollar before the global financial crisis of 2008-2009. And I met $10 billion as external reserves and built it to the all-time almost 63 billion that we had. And even in spite of payment of the 12 billion in external debt, and then going through the worst financial crisis in history, I still left behind about 45 billion the day I left office. Now, I've seen this myself. I've seen it up, I've seen it down, and I know quite a few things. But there's a note I will leave with you, and that is that the magnitude of where we are, the magnitude of the challenge before us, and brace up to be able to deal with it. We can't be in denial anymore.
One thing that I'd like to ask you, because you are sat in the committee at the neck over these palliatives and the minimum wage. President Tinubu had announced a provisional wage increase for workers. There are those who will say they've not really seen the palliatives on the ground as to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy. I mean, if in Anambra State, have you been doing it? Has that been reflected? Because the federal government said 2 billion initial releases that they've given to the state government. As the people of Anambra State started receiving it, the provisional wage increase, has that been reflected? The real effect on the people of Nigeria is what they probably are looking for tonight.
Thank you very much. Two quick points. Number one, yes, I served on the committee, NEC committee on palliatives, and we made our recommendations. Second, yes, a committee has been set up for the negotiation of the minimum wage, and I happen to serve, be a member of that committee, and we're looking forward to the work of the committee. On the palliatives, they'll come down to Anambra, for example. My budget, I think, if you see, we published ours, and very, very comprehensive set of palliatives. Yeah, the federal government gave each state 2 billion, what I call with 52% grant element, to augment.
All right.
That's no question. Here, we are very deliberate about it, and that's no question about it.
All right. I'm just making that commentary so that the governors will be aware that the people want to see, and it's important for the sake of transparency. But I have just about a minute left on the program. But I also take you to an area that you don't like to talk about. But for the sake of this question, maybe I can excuse you from a professor and say Prophet Charles Soludo. Because what you're not afraid of the online bullies, of some of those you mentioned in your rebuttal when you said, you cannot be bullied. But the fact remains that you said what you said, and it has happened.
And like I said, you have said so, and and
you don't regret it.
We're here to discuss 2024. No. You are 2024 budget. It's what we said, and you know me. I say what I mean.
Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and stay on our channel to get all updates and be the first to get notified in the future. Thanks.